I'd been given this Chelsea game to commentate by Sky. In between me being given the game, Woking, somewhat surprisingly, which I was assistant manager, had got to the third round of the FA Cup. BEN FOSTER TROY DEENEY, they leapt upon it. Get him thrown out of here. You can't have a look there. He's spying for Woking. It's
The joy of football.
This is Boxing Day 2018. It was an evening kickoff on the Boxing Day. Again, probably for television. I think it must have been 7 or 7:30. I'm not quite sure. It certainly wasn't. I think it was 5:30 because I was at the Woking game in the day, which was an early kickoff. And I'd been given this Chelsea game to commentate by Sky. And I've said before, we don't choose our games. We get told where to go in more ways than one usually. But so in between me being given the game and the game happening, Woking, somewhat surprisingly, under which I was assistant manager, had got to the third round of the FA Cup. And the draw actually took place at Stamford Bridge. And we were drawn to play Watford at home. So now I was sort of I was going to commentate on the game. Don't get me wrong. I knew, I've been to Watford many times. I knew a few players personally. A few of them, Tom Cleverley had a real contact with Woking, so through a family background. So I did. We played the lunchtime kickoff, and then I drove up to Watford, and then just went back into my non-coaching persona, which is the most of my life, just as being the commentator, parked up, got my notes, exactly the same state of mind as if I'd been going into any game over the many years I've been doing the job to then. Only to be greeted in the Watford tunnel by, hang on a minute, well, you can't come here. We're playing you in a couple of, well, it would be 10 days at the most, I guess. But it was all very light-hearted, and the players like, BEN FOSTER TROY DEENEY, they leapt upon it. Get him thrown out of here. You can't have a look there. He's spying for Woking. But they took it all in very good part, really good part. But it's I suppose it's a moment where two worlds collide, really.
And the score in the third round of the FA Cup?
We lost 2-0, but we did pretty well. Will Hughes scored the first goal for Watford, and every time I see him, and he understand he avoids me now, and I don't blame him for that. I go, that goal, and he usually replies by saying, yeah, I think that was the last goal I ever scored. So January 2019, and then Troy was a sub, and he came on. We were doing all right at 1-0. We were doing okay, full ground, 5,500 live on BT as it was then, and Troy came on, and we'd had a bit of banter. I mean, very friendly banter. The dugout's very close at Woking. And he came on, and within 2 minutes he scored and put the game to bed, But it started, Javi Gracia was the manager, who was really wonderful to deal with. There was no snootiness about it at all. He understood what we were and where we were coming from. Watford made some financial gesture to Woking, thanks to Scott Duxbury after the game, which was massively appreciated.
Scott Duxbury.
Chief Executive, yeah. And Watford went on to the final. And with all the Woking support, all on Twitter, everybody was wishing them luck in every round. They came back, didn't they, in the semi-final against Wolves from 2-0 down to get to Wembley. Of course, it all went sour on the day, but the following pre-season, somebody dropped out of the game, and I got a call from Richard Walker, who's an excellent member of the media team and is still with Watford now, saying, Javi says, can you get a team together for Friday afternoon? I thought, well, whoever it was, as first players, and we're going to play. We need a game. Can you? And Friday, we're part-time, Friday afternoon, but Watford asking, Premier League team. So we cobbled together. We had 11 plus a trialist. And as opposed to the cup game where they did leave one or two out, and as I say, they played everybody. and we were 4-0 down, I think, and they brought on 8 internationals for the last 15 minutes. I think it finished 8. But it was lovely. We were welcome. They fed us afterwards, and everybody. There's still a bond between Woking and Watford today, and so very grateful for that. But it did, it sort of came to light, first of all, not with the draw as much as me being in the tunnel, being almost escorted from my rightful post. There we go.